Okay guys, so welcome back to another Scrap and Irish video, and for this one, as you can see, we have got outside, we have a nice sunny day, and we have some liquids left over. So these ones are the ones you would have seen in the shed for the last, anytime I was doing a shed update video, you would have seen them liquids sitting in the corner that are left over since last year. So what am I going to do? Well, my plan, you can see, some of them are a nice yellowy, greeny colour, and some of them are very green. Again, they had a mixture of pins, every sort of thing mixed in them, so I don't know what's in there and what isn't in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to mix them lot together. So, and you're probably saying, why am I doing that? Well, all will be explained in a minute. So I'm just going to fill it as far as I can into that one. Then I'm going to go to the next one and fill that one as far as I can, and then I'm going to go to the last one, and I'm going to take as much of this liquid as I can, okay, so them are fairly well filled up. So we've taken the 4 down to 2. Again, I'll wash these jars out and add them later into another solution or something. So we're left with 2 jars. So why have I done that? Again, because I don't know what's in there, I'm just going to, I have some, and again, I'm kind of trying not to use nitric as much as this year, hopefully, but these ones were used with nitric. And to denox them, I don't know how much nitric I put in there, I don't know how much gold has been used up in them. But what I have is, excuse me guys, I just need to move something here. What I have is gold left over from, that I've got from other stuff. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to pour it into these. The excess nitric will dissolve any of the gold, and anything that's left, or any gold, once I don't see any more gold dissolved, and it hasn't dissolved at all, that means the nitric has been used up, and we can just drop the solution. So what I'm going to do, I have some here as well. This is just some dirty gold flakes and stuff like that from things, so I'm just going to put it straight in, and I'm going to get, because I know there's not enough nitric in there to dissolve all this gold, but what it'll do is it'll dissolve the nitric, or neutralize any nitric that's left over. So again, putting them in there, putting them in there. I'm losing some flakes in the wind, which I don't like doing. I didn't think it was that breezy out here. So you can see the gold is just sitting there on the top. We're going to get a stirrer, so I'm going to pause it while I get a stirrer to stir the gold down into it. So we have our glass stirrer, and we're just going to stir that down into the liquid as best we can. So that, as I say, hopefully we will not dissolve all the gold, and that way then I know that the nitric has been used up. If I come out in a couple of days and there's still gold floating around in there, I can filter it and I still get to keep the gold, wash it off, and I can use them again in another stage somewhere else. When I'm doing more gold, I can re-dissolve them. So that's the first part. This one has a lot more in it. Now I need to get maybe so this definitely won't dissolve all that, which is good. Now I can wash them down into that jar, and we'll have gold flakes later. I'm going to put this top on, and I'm going to put the top on over here, and we'll try and make sure they all go down. And the same with this one. And that's it. We'll let that work away, and we'll see how neutralized and how much gold gets dissolved in it, and we'll come back in a few days and we'll have a look and see if the gold has been dissolved or if it's still just floating around in there. And if it's floating around in there, that means we have neutralized the nitric acid by using it up, and then it's just a matter of getting some SMB and doing our drop and seeing what we get out of it. You know, I think it was all just gold flakes that was in this and stuff like that, so I'm not expecting that amount, an awful amount of stuff, but we'll see what we end up at the end of it. So check back in a few days, guys, and we'll see how the first gold drop of 2022 went. Okay guys, so it's been about a day since I put the gold flakes into these jars, and this one, let me get the stern rod. Still has a few gold flakes float around in it, where this one the gold seems to have completely dissolved. So I'm presuming there's still some nitric in there. I'm presuming the nitric is completely gone from this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter this one off, dry the gold flakes and put them into this one, what's left over, and see will they dissolve. And if it's dissolved, we're going to have to get more gold flakes and continue it on, because I want to try and neutralize that nitric by dissolving gold into it. So that's the plan. May not work, may work. So I'm just going to leave that one out there for a minute. We've got this jar to the front, move that to the back, and we'll just pour this off. So I'm just going to let that filter away, and when it's filtered through, we'll have a look and see what the liquid looks like. Of course, we'll have to do a stannous test on both once I'm completely finished before we do the drop, and we'll see what this looks like. So I'm going to let that filter, see what gold flakes are left in here, dry them off and transfer them into this one, and then we'll be able to hopefully get our solution excess nitric used up, and we should make it easier to do a gold drop, hopefully. So let that filter away and we'll come back when it's filtered. Okay, so I have filtered the two out. I've divided into two jars, and you can see this is what's left. So again, that will be washed out and put into that other jar. But what I've decided to do is, seeing I think that's completely neutralized, I'm going to try dropping the gold from this one. We'll worry about the other one later. So again, we have some SMB here that I'm just going to pour in. It's warm, so it's just SMB. It's been there a while. I'm hoping it's still active, and I'm hoping it'll drop the gold. So let's see what happens. I put it in here in case there's a boil over. Now we'll wait and see what happens. Quick stir. I'm hoping I have enough in there. If not, we can add more. But we are getting a colour change. As you can see here already, we have a darker colour change. second one isn't acting as quick. I may need to put more SMB in there, but we can see there that the gold has started to drop from that one straight away. This one taking a bit longer, but we'll let it run for a second or so and see what happens. It's beginning to change now. It's going a darker colour. So we're getting a nice little drop from this one anyhow. This one's taking a bit longer. I might need to add a bit more SMB because I poured most of it in here and the least amount went in there. We'll let it work away for a second too and see what happens. I'll pause it there and we'll come back in a few minutes to it. Well, I'll leave it now, it's getting darker. I'll let you watch the drop. So we can see this one anyhow, the gold has started to drop in to the bottom. Still got a lot of yellow colour to it, so may need another bit of SMB, but we'll let that work away. I'll pause it and we'll come back in a few minutes to it. Okay, so I've left it for a while and you can see both of them. I've added a bit more SMB there and both of them now are dropping their gold. So that's nice. I can leave that aside and let that work away. I'm thinking, well, I just filter this and try dropping the gold from it and see what happens, just for the fun of it. And if it doesn't work, sure, we can always just go back and do it again. So that's what I'm going to do, guys. So I'm going to pause it there again and we'll put these jars away. We'll get that into 2 jars. I'll filter it and put it into 2 different jars and we'll see how the gold drops out of it. So you can see there that has dropped a nice bit of gold out of it in the bottom layer, and again this one here is in the process of dropping the gold out as well. So again, this is not going to be the cleanest drop because I don't know what was in there, and again I sometimes if you're doing a proper getting 24 karat gold, where this is not, this is just dropping the stuff so I can refine it at some stage. You will try and get the lead out of it first by sulfuric acid, but I didn't do that because I'd be refining all this gold again at some stage once all this powders. But for this one I'm just going to do a dirty drop, as I say, from it, and we'll come back to them. So let me get the next one ready. Okay guys, so here we are ready to do the next drop, hopefully. So we're about to add the SMB and we'll see how this one works. So let's see what happens here. Okay, we're getting it darkening and we're about to see a drop. So as we can see on this one as well, we're getting some gold beginning to drop out of solution. I could add another bit of SMB, I suppose, and then they drop out quicker, but we'll let it work away. So we can see the gold beginning to drop out into the solution. So I'm going to pause it there, come back in about 5 minutes, let that work away, and we'll see what it's like in 5 minutes time. Okay, so I've left it about 5 minutes, and as you can see, when I stir it up, you can see the actual gold floating around in here, well, the gold dust, and the same here. So if you look closely, you can see the gold particles floating around inside the container. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to let them settle overnight. So I'm going to let that one and the other two that I've already done settle overnight, and we'll see what it's like in the morning. So we'll give them maybe 24 hours or something like that to settle, and we'll see what gold powder we got. Okay guys, so it's been 24 hours roughly since I done the drop, and as you can see, we have our gold down the powder on the bottom of the liquids. So all I'm going to do now is filter off as much water as I can without disturbing the gold, or not the water, acid, I should mean to say. And it's just a matter of, let me set that up, just pouring it off. So that'll take a while, because I have 3 filters plus some cotton wool to make sure none of the little fine powder will escape. So you can see the powder there from in that jar, and I still again in the other. So I'm just going to pour all these off, and we'll come back and we'll see what's left in the bottom, and then we'll let that dry and we'll get away at the end, hopefully. So I'll come back once I've poured these all off, and then before I dry it out, so you can see what I'm left with, and then we can do a actual dry it out. So as you can see, we have the powder here, some powder here, some powder here, and again in the bottom of this one we have powder. So we let that go away. Again, this liquid I'll save, and when I have some stainless done, I'll test it to make sure there's no precious metal reaction on it, and if it comes back as negative, I will put that into my stock pot and deal with that at a later date. But if it comes back as positive, we'll try dropping some more of it out maybe. Okay, so I have come inside after letting as much of the liquid be filtered through as possible, and you can see in here we have the old filters, which I will hold on to because some of that may still contain some gold. So when I'm burning off my filters, we'll do that. And I have another one here, so again I will look after that. This is what we're left with. So you can see in the bottom we have a nice amount of gold. I have washed it in a bit in distilled water, and I'm going to wash it again in more distilled water, and I'll do that a few times until I get it washed enough that I think that the acid has been washed completely from it. And then I will dry it and weigh it up, but I'm not going to do that in this video. I'm going to finish it up here and now. But what I want you to do is guess what weight I have in there once it's dried. So let me see if I can give you a look from the side, so you can see it in there. And so you can see it's kind of just sitting there at the bottom, and if I move the jar around, you can see when the liquid moves, there's quite a nice amount of it in there. But what do you think it's going to be weight wise? How many grams? 1 gram, 2 grams, 10 grams, 4 grams, 5.5 grams? What do you think it's going to be? So leave your guess in the comments, and what I'll do is in a future video we'll weigh it up, So we'll be in the middle of some video. It won't be, it'll just be at the end of a video, or it might be in the middle of a video, and we'll see who guessed it right. It'll be in a future video. I'm not going to say, is it going to be the next video, or the video after that, or the video after that. It could be 3 videos, 4 videos down the line from this one, but I'll put it in there somewhere for you guys to guess, to see, well, to see, not to guess, to see what the answer was. And that'll be added in with the gold that I have been collecting up the gold. So I say it's not fully pure, because I didn't drop the lead from it, for one thing. And what I'll do again eventually is, with all the gold powder that I have collected up, I will wash it again in hydrochloric acid, to make sure there's any more base metals I can get out of it using the hydrochloric acid. And then I will put it into acarige again, and I will drop it again, and I'll probably wash it again in hydrochloric acid again after the drop. Well, wash it distilled and wash it in a couple times until I get as pure as I can all the gold that I'm collecting up. And I'll do that in future videos. Probably won't be this year, to be honest. It'll probably be next year or the year after, maybe, because I want to get a nice amount of it collected up before I do it, and then I'll try and purify it and try and eventually get a nice bar melted, a nice size bar, not a 1 gram or 2 gram bar, stuff like that. I want to get a nice chunk of gold done. That's the plan. But hopefully we'll get that at some stage in the future. So guys, what do you think is in there? How many grams do you think is in there? You can see it settled at the bottom of the little jar. So I'm gonna transfer this into a smaller beaker eventually and wash it a few times, and once we've it completely cleaned out, we'll give the results of what it is. And once it's dried up and in powder form, you'll see that in a future video. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that. That was from last year's leftovers that I had in some jars that I hadn't dealt with, and I just needed to get it dropped. So I got that done, and we can get moving on to this year's plans with the gold fingers, the chips, the pins, everything else that you'll see in future videos coming up. So guys, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching as always. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing if you like to see more gold videos coming up and be get notifications as soon as they're out. And till the next one, guys, keep on looking for that gold. Bye bye. See you on the next one.